We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, led this evening by Councilmember Peak.
Please rise. Ready, begin. I pledge the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it is a nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all. We will proceed to roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk.
Here.
Councilmember Newsom.
Here.
Councilmember Peak.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris.
Here.
Mayor Bourbeau.
Here.
All present.
All right, thank you. Well, if you're attending in person or listening to the city council meeting this evening on one of our many possible ways to do that, we welcome you and thank you for participating. We're going to begin this evening with employee recognition presentations. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jim Lewis, our city manager, at the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. This is always a pleasure to recognize our long-serving employees. And you know, the employees are the heart of this organization and power the city to great heights. And I'm so proud to work alongside them. And it's always a privilege to get to recognize them. So we have from 5 to 25 years. This is an all-star class of people that I'm just thrilled to recognize. And so we're going to start with our 5-year honorees. Ryan Betts, you're first. Come on up here. Ryan Betts. Wow, Ryan Betts. What? One of the things I was so excited about was to come back to work with this guy.
Yes.
And I was glad that he realized that this is way better than working for the city of San Luis Obispo. Ryan began employment with the city of Atascadero in March 2021 when he was hired as Public Works Analyst ADA Coordinator, where he is responsible for providing analytical, technical, and management support functions for various programs, special projects, and activities in the Public Works Department, including overseeing assigned programs and projects. And he is a this is fixer for sure, resolving various complex citizen matters. And I call him a good bit myself to take care of something, because I know if you ask, he'll get it done. Really good. He also manages the Public Works Administration staff, serves as the city's ADA coordinator, oversaw business outreach for the downtown ECR project, was out there every week, and really just did a terrific job keeping people informed. He provides a wide variety of upper-level assistance and support, not only to Nick, but thank goodness he supports Nick, but to the city manager and the executive management team. Ryan lives in Atascadero with his wife, Tessa, and 2 daughters, Renee and Sierra. Renee, where are you? Happy 16th birthday. Happy birthday to you. Very cool. He's active in the community, coaching his daughter's basketball teams, participating in adult kickball. That's a must-see event. Volunteering at creek cleanup, attending special events, and patronizing downtown restaurants and brew pubs while cheering on the 49ers. Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
Hey, up here. All right, 5 years, Danielle Nunes Hutchinson. Come on up, Danielle. Danielle was originally hired by the city as a part-time transit dispatcher for 9 months. We're scout troop parents together. It's amazing how tight the community is. As a part-time transit dispatcher for 9 months before starting full-time in February 2021 as Public Works Office Assistant 3 in the Operations Division, where she is responsible for administrative support for street, park, and building maintenance and wastewater divisions. Danielle serves as the fleet manager for Public Works, the department liaison for special events, coordinates division training and travel, and handles and routes all incoming calls and requests, and those are a lot of incoming calls and requests, for routine and emergency maintenance issues. Due to the vital role that she plays on the front lines of Public Works operations, Director DeBar often refers to Danielle as the plastic thingy that holds the six-pack together. I wonder what that's actually called. We'll have to chat GPT that. She was also a long-term member of ADAC planning and implementing activities to boost our employee morale. Danielle lives in Atascadero with her husband, Eric, who works at the sheriff's office. Thank you for your service, Eric. And 2 sons, Dean, 13, and James, who is 6 but turned 7 this weekend. 6-7, that's for you. All right. Outside of work, Danielle volunteers with her son's Boy Scout troop and likes spending time with her family camping and being outdoors. And you are a terrific troop mother, too. So, Danielle, thank you for 5 years. Battalion Chief Dave Venson, come on up. You're up. Dave grew up in the Santa Barbara area, graduating from Dos Pueblos High School and then the Firefighter Academy at Allen Hancock College. Dave started his fire career with the Santa Barbara County Hot Shot Crew, and after working 3 fire seasons, he joined the United States Air Force and served 3 years as a firefighter senior airman before being hired as a firefighter with the city of Great Falls. Dave later went on to obtain his bachelor's degree in business and human resources from Columbia Southern University. In 2021, Dave joined the Atascadero Fire Department as Battalion Chief of Community Risk Reduction for our department. This includes plan review, public education, weed abatement, enforcement, vegetation management, and a lot of inspections. You're an excellent liaison between our community and the city. People don't usually call Dave really happy about a lot of things, but they end happy. Dave just has a great way of dealing with our citizens, and we really appreciate that. Dave has been married to his wife, Jill, for over 35 years. Congratulations, Jill and Dave. And they have 4 children and 2 grandchildren. Thank you, Dave, for 5 years. Jill, thank you. All right. We have Brett Hildebrand, firefighter, 5 years. Come on up. Brett was hired by Atascadero Fire and Emergency Services in February 2021. Brett's firefighting career began in the U.S. Forest Service over 20 years ago with the Los Padres National Forest. His wildland experience includes 2 seasons on a fire engine in the Monterey Ranger District, 1 season as an Rio Grande Helitack crew member, 8 years with the Rio Grande Hot Shots, and the last 3 years working for the Bureau of Land Management as a smoke jumper out of Boise, Idaho. So I don't think you get scared very easily, it seems. Brett grew up in Leona, California, but has resided on the Central Coast for the last 20 years. He and his wife, Stacy, and almost 2-year-old daughter, Jolene, live in Atascadero. They enjoy traveling with their dog. Brett loves spending time outdoors, whether it be trail running, golfing, or enjoying lake time on the pontoon. That's a good way to pass time. Congratulations on 5 years, Brett. Thank you so much. Julia Irwin, public safety dispatcher, 5 years. Julia began her dispatching career with the Cal Poly Police Department in 2014 before transferring to the Atascadero Police Department in January 2021. She's an active and engaged member of both the Atascadero Police Foundation and the Atascadero Police Association boards, helping to coordinate events like our Easter Bunny visit and Crafts with Cops. And those are amazing events. Thank you for taking the extra time to do that. It's so important. She resides in Coalinga, California with her husband, Kyle, and their 3 Boston Terriers. Outside of work, Julia has a passion for baking, especially sourdough, and has even launched her own home-based business, Fetch and Flour Sourdough. Well, we'll have to get some of that, Chief. In her free time, Julia enjoys baking and spending quality time with her family, particularly on fishing trips to Shaver Lake with her husband and father. Thank you, Julia, for 5 great years. Okay, we're moving on to 10 years. Larissa Lopez, where are you? Come on. Oh, we got signs. Look at this. Woo! Look at this. I think that's a first. That is awesome. Let's just keep those waving for a minute and look at those. Yeah, that is so great. You are celebrating 10 amazing full-time years with the city of Atascadero. Wow. She began her journey, and you can tell she's well-liked, in the recreation division as a coordinator overseeing youth and adult sports and collaborating with organizations like Little League and Babe Ruth. Larissa quickly expanded her expertise across many areas at the Colony Park Community Center, from pickleball and instructor programs to mastering the active net system. 3 years ago, she was promoted to recreation supervisor, where she now leads the entire recreation division and continues to oversee the successful publication of the Atascadero Recreation Guide 3 times a year. Most recently, she spearheaded the return of the aquatics program, which has been positively received in the community, and that's making a huge difference teaching kids to swim. Thank you for doing that. Beyond her, it's making a splash, the chief said. I had to say that. Way to go, man. Beyond her city role, Larissa serves on the board for the California Park and Recreation Society's District 8, actively contributing to programs that enrich the lives of local youth, and serves on the committee for the annual Monster Skate competition that gathers youth across the county to perform and show off their talent in skateboarding. Larissa lives in Atascadero with her wife, Amy, and daughter, Charlie. Thank you for your dedication. All right, we're got a cheer back there for the family. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Larissa, for your dedication, leadership, and incredible impact you have made over the last 10 years. You're the best. Thank you. Laura Henderson, Assistant City Manager, 10 years. Woo-woo! I love your husband's shirt. That is love right there. I mean, I'm so glad that Laura is a key part of our city executive team, and she's definitely made a difference over the past 10 years here. For most of this time, Laura served as deputy city manager, handling several special projects in the city clerk function. I was so impressed by Laura's thoughtfulness, ability to communicate, and the level of respect that she had from her peers, and her ability to get things done that I promoted her to assistant city manager this past year. As assistant city manager, Laura is the chief operating officer of our organization, making sure work is staying on task, and she is good at that, isn't she, team? And timeline, and keeps the city manager on task too, I think, and that we are following all of our operational policies and procedures. In addition, she's responsible for risk management and legal oversight, community engagement, intergovernmental relations, legislative advocacy, and she manages several major projects, including the Public Safety Enhancement Project. That's about a 60-hour work week, right? I know. We appreciate it. In addition to all this, she still serves as city clerk. Laura is simply invaluable to me and to the city, and I'm so thankful she serves as our co-pilot. And I'm very proud of her professional growth and thankful for her commitment to this city. She pretty much works around the clock. Laura and her husband, Pete, have two young and very active, awesome kids, V and Bass, right there in the front row. Good to see you guys. And they are both adorable and very involved in the community as well. They also, as a family, enjoy Disneyland, live music, and cheer on the Los Angeles Rams. Thank you, Laura, for all you've done as our assistant city manager and city clerk these past 10 years. I truly appreciate your help, dedication, and your service. "20 years. Remember where you were 20 years ago? Ooh, man. Are the pictures going to be in black and white? Or Paul Netz, fire captain, 20 years. Where are you, dude? All right. I'm not going to let you buy it. Crazy. Wow. I remember when he started. So that's like, I was here. Paul was hired part-time in 2003 and full-time in 2005. Prior to entering the fire service, he worked in construction and heavy equipment operations, developing practical skills that continue to benefit the department and the city of Atascadero. He promoted to engineer in 2010 and his current position of fire captain in 2019. He currently serves as the department's lead fire investigator and fleet manager, overseeing critical operational and investigative responsibilities. Paul has been a licensed paramedic since 2010 and became a state certified fire officer in 2015. His additional qualifications include heavy equipment boss. That is a cool title. Heavy equipment boss. Urban search and rescue, response trained, and helicopter rescue technician certification. And again, a heavy equipment boss. He is currently completing training to serve as a duty officer, allowing him to assume battalion chief responsibilities when needed. And I know you'll do a great job. Paul and his wife, Kelly, a sergeant with the Atascadero Police Department, live in Atascadero with their two children, Jameson and Josie. Outside of work, Paul enjoys camping, off-roading, and hands-on construction projects, including the extensive remodel. How long has it been going? Extensive remodel, usually, of their family home. I'm sure you're doing great. Thank you, Paul. That's a cute picture of you and your wife up there. That's a good one. Man, they got some good ones. All right. And we're going to wrap up with the most tenured, awesome employee, Director Jerry Rangel, 25 years. All right. 25 years. She started working for the city when she was 3 years old. She is a prodigy, so it's amazing. She had her master's degree by then. Jerry's been with us since 2001, starting in the finance department as a senior accountant, right? And then she served as deputy director of the department in 2003. I remember that. And then she became director of administrative services in August of 2013. You're still going. Thank you. As director, Jerry is the chief financial officer of our city, responsible for the city's budgeting, financial planning, and reporting, contract review, and grants management. She oversees all of the city's financial operations. Again, thank goodness. And she looks over our fixed assets and audit coordination. She's a CSMFO budget reviewer And today I went over those requirements with the mayor, and he was very impressed at how many requirements there are there. So to earn that award, and her work has led to our city receiving that Excellence in Budgeting Awards for many consecutive budget cycles. These past few years, she has navigated us through 2 debt issuances like a master, 2 debt issuances with fantastic results, getting the highest credit rating we could and borrowing costs lower than estimated, which really helps us with the fire station, our redevelopment debt, and that just puts more money back into taxpayers' hands. Jerry heads up her department with strong leadership skills, grace, and humor. She is also the force behind the finance department's staff reports, using her exceptional writing skills to translate detailed financial information into something even I can understand. Jerry is a consummate professional, extremely bright and knowledgeable, hardworking, dedicated, and just a really nice person. It's a pleasure to work with you, really. She demonstrates the utmost integrity, the highest integrity. She's also an amazing mother who loves and is involved with her family, and she's a tremendous baker. So if you got to eat her treats, you are very fortunate. Thank you, Jerry, for everything you've done for all these years, for the city, for me, for our team. Today we honor 25 awesome years of service. Thing? 25 years. 25 years gets a comment.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim, for all those nice things. And I'm just honored to have the opportunity to serve our community and our organization. Have a great team and support of my amazing family through all those late nights and weekends. And just really appreciate the opportunity that this has been provided. It's a beautiful city and great people here. So thank you.
Council, would you like a picture with the team?
Yeah, if you could hang on a second. Also, I don't think you mentioned Jerry is our city treasurer as well.
Oh, yes, she is our city treasurer, and we're going to start that up here pretty soon, I think. City treasurer, that's right.
Before the council's going to come down, we want to take a picture with everybody being honored this evening. But before we do that and move on, I had something more somber I wanted to address and do so before everybody left the room. Last week, Jerry Clay passed away, and many of you, of course, know that Jerry Clay served on the city council for, I think, 16 years. He was born and raised in Atascadero, so he truly, bled orange and sweat gray for many, many years. He was just dedicated to this community. He did a lot of things for this community in addition to being on the city council. So I'd like us all to have a moment of silence in memory of Jerry Clay. Okay, thank you. And yes, the council would very much like to come down and take a picture with all the honorees and make sure all the family members have a chance to do so as well. And I really appreciate a man who wears his love for his wife on his sleeve. Literally. So good job.
While we're taking a few pictures, I do want to recognize one other city employee today. Our super human resources manager, Rachel Hunter. It's her birthday today. She turned 27. Happy birthday, Rachel. Happy birthday. We appreciate you a lot. Thank you. 27 today.
going to let them get out the door and then we're going to. Okay, we're going to call the meeting back to order. So we could have a little quiet in the chambers. Want to note, it was great to take a little break for our employees and their families to commiserate over our recognition of those many years of great service by our employees. And it was just really cool to see the camaraderie amongst our employees and cheering each other on. And it's just great to see what a great place the city of Atascadero is to work. So thank you all to all the employees and their years of service. So we're going to move on now to the consent calendar. Consent calendar consists of items that are considered routine and non-controversial by city staff and will be acted upon in a single motion unless a council member wishes to pull an item for more detailed discussion. We will allow public comment on consent calendar, of course. So, but I will now see if there are any members of the council wishing to pull an item or have a question. Okay, I think, go ahead, Heather, though.
I want to pull 11 for discussion.
Okay, so we're going to pull 11 for discussion, and you had a quick question? On a question on 9. Okay, so go ahead and ask your question on 9.
Yes, on 9, the capital asset policy. I just want to confirm that my understanding that we're increasing the limits of how we account for certain assets so that we can make the accounting process more efficient, but that we're not changing the controls on purchasing so people can't like run out and go buy a bunch of stuff and not be noticed.
That's correct. And this will make it much more efficient for the audit and as we bring up our asset management software, our new program.
Thank you. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Other than pulling out 11, any other questions from council? Okay, with that, we'll go out and see if there's any public comment on items E1 to E10. Any member of the public wishing to comment? Okay, seeing them, we'll bring it back to council for a motion.
Move approval for items 1 through 10 in the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk and a second by Councilmember Peak. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris,
Yes.
Mayor Bourbeau.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to a discussion of item E11, design contract amendment for Del Rio US 101 interchange. So Councilmember Newsom, did you have a specific set of questions or do you want just more detailed discussion?
Just a little bit more detailed discussion. And then I did want to know what changes at Barrel Creek and the old Walmart property are currently affecting some of these changes that we recommended years ago.
Sure, those are great questions. Luke, I don't know if you can pull up. I did put together, I have a couple of slides here that maybe might help answer some of these questions. So the council did approve a concept plan. Originally, this was roundabouts, a series of 3 roundabouts. When Walmart decided not to pursue their project anymore, staff went through some pretty extensive land use scenarios and were able to come up with alternative designs for this corridor. And these were the approved concept plan. And with the specific plan was also updated and amended with Del Rio. And this did include the Walmart site, as Councilmember Newsom mentioned, and the marketplace site and the hotel. And so we ended up going through that. That got amended. Some of the traffic mitigation measures were also amended. And so the project as proposed is into 3 phases. And there's the primary driver of this is to kind of have orderly development along the corridor. And then also have the improvements in the Caltrans right-of-way under $1 million. And that will, instead of having a long drawn-out review process, we'll be able to get a encroachment permit issued if it's under $1 million. So phase 1 is this westbound to northbound right turn lane, top of this sketch. Right now, a lot of this is already built out by Marketplace. So as the previous slide showed, that shows a lot of El Camino and a lot of Del Rio. Much of that on the north side of El Camino, north of Del Rio, and the Del Rio corridor is already built out by the marketplace. The Walmart site is conditioned now. It's Del Rio Ranch, the RV park that's has entitlements for that property now, and they are conditioned to do these improvements along El Camino Real, including a traffic signal near that subway driveway entrance. But the city's project would be, phase one would be this westbound and northbound right turn lane, which would also include extending that retaining wall that was built with the Taco Bell and relocating a traffic signal and doing some modifications. Phase 2 and 3 would be on the other side of the freeway. Phase 2 would be the Ramona Road realignment. Now, the city does own all this property. City purchased that Arnold property several years ago, and we also own the Fleet liquidation property. This is also a proposed site for potentially a future fire station number 3. And so phase 2 would be the Ramona realignment, and phase 3 would be more on the south ramp and including some dropping off the hill there with the El Camino, or sorry, Del Rio improvements. Really, the project need, purpose, and benefit is traffic mitigation for that specific plan update and the general plan. So we're really, these improvements really are accommodating the future growth and rezoning, especially along Ramona Road. That was all upsized with the general plan. Improves traffic and pedestrian bicycle safety, adding and making connectivity. Also improves the traffic congestion and intersection operations right now. So all the signals will be interconnected when complete. As I mentioned, that future development opportunities for a potential fire station 3 or other land uses. And then these special mitigation fees that are being collected right now in the Del Rio specific plan, it also includes Barrel Creek. And they're paying in a per trip charge to this, and these fees are really dedicated to a portion of these corridor improvements. And then really, as I mentioned, provides early development of the corridor. With the changes with the Walmart site and Barrel Creek, they are proposed to do their own frontage improvements. So Barrel Creek has a lot of, they have approved public improvement plans right now to do a lot of the Del Rio frontage improvements and on San Ramon Road as well. And I'm not sure if I answered the questions or not, but does that help a little bit more?
It does. I was going to ask about the future location of whether or not that realignment would allow for the development of Fire Station 3. And then will any of these improvements include repaving and redoing the whole intersection from ECR to Ramona? San Ramona, I should say.
From ECR to Ramona?
San Ramona Road.
Oh,
Is that all going to get resurfaced and paved in this future improvements?
Yes, so this phase 3 would be a lot of the improvements on Del Rio that are shown here. Some of these improvements are going to be are conditioned already, as I mentioned, with Barrel Creek, their development, but then also going down to Monterey Road. That's pretty rough right now as well. We're looking at including that as, finding to talk to the administrative services director first, but look for funding to be able to make those improvements at the same time. Just, when you can do more paving, the economies of scale, it just becomes a lot more economical to be able to do that. So this corridor really needs to be, improved and modernized quite a bit. And it's really kind of getting ahead of the development that's going to be coming in this area as well.
I appreciate the extra time for clarification.
I had a question for you on this particular map here. If you're coming southbound, getting off the freeway there at Del Rio, and you want to make a right turn onto Del Rio going west, it doesn't look to me like there's going to be a dedicated lane there that you would, let's say you were getting off there and you're going to go to the Barrel Creek development after that's built. Isn't there going to be like a lane so you don't have to merge into the primary through traffic lane? It doesn't look like there is.
It's kind of like a continuation of a bike path as is shown here. And these are really conceptual plans because the final plans will be, they'll look at all these little details and intricacies.
Okay, so we don't need to specify that because I'm concerned we're doing a, big contract with them to design. And it just seems that that's one of the things, and I don't want to get into in the weeds, knowing if we have the chance to address some of that later and you guys have the chance to address
For
that.
sure, and
Okay.
we'll bring these back to council as they get developed. One other thing too is we didn't go out, Wallace, why did we select Wallace? They really have the history with the project. They've been the project design engineer since 2012. Unbelievable, about 14 years. They have the familiarity with the project, with they have all the CAD files, all the design data, the traffic analysis. They have the Caltrans connections and coordination, and really know all the other nuances with the project. They're also a very qualified firm. I mean, they are one of the top firms that do transportation projects in our area. And then their fee was very competitive and reasonable. We actually checked with another one of their competitors that gave us a estimate of the fee, and it was very close to what Wallace said and what's proposed tonight with this contract amendment.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I would understand that. I mean, they already have a lot of familiarity that it's going to save them time and money. The other last question would be, we're proceeding with some degree of design work here. What if the projects involve changes? And, like if Barrel Creek turned into something else in terms of what is expected, would that have an impact on the design itself to the extent that we shouldn't be paying a lot of money to have the design now?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And this would become a project ready or shovel ready type project. We're ready to bid out full construction plans, approvals by Caltrans, all that. And I don't imagine if Barrel Creek were to change, that would change his corridor at all. The east side is pretty well baked, what's going to happen there. This Ramona Road realignment's a big one, and it's way too close to the intersection right now. And why that would be phase 2 is because that would automatically trigger, if we wanted to do the intersection improvements at the south ramp, that would automatically push us into a longer design process with Caltrans because of the vicinity of that Ramona Road to the intersection. So we want to move that away before we do the work up on Caltrans right away.
Great, thank you. Okay, I want to open it up to public comment on this particular item since we pulled it.
Good evening, council and staff. Jeff Oslin, council member Newsom. I appreciate your questions. You eliminated about half of mine. I do have a couple, and that would be San Ramon going towards Home Depot. That road needs to be repaved at some point sooner than later. I'm hoping that gets in something with Barrel Creek and et cetera, going down. My biggest concern, though, is Del Rio going westbound at the intersection at ECR just past Valley Fresh. If you were heading towards the highway, on your conceptual map, it is a straight and right lane, a bike lane, and a left turn at ECR. And I'm concerned because I do know the traffic there has changed with the businesses that are coming in, the residents coming in, that I think we need a dedicated right turn lane added to that intersection. If you were to go back on your conceptual, you can see that at that intersection. So if you're looking there on the far right, Nick, you have a left turn and a straight and right, and then the bike lane. I don't know if there's any way to make a different right turn lane there, but I think it's needed, especially now that we are going to see more traffic there, believe it or not, with Chick-fil-A coming in, even though they're down at San Ramon and ECR. That will push more traffic going down ECR going northbound. And I'm glad that you brought up that with the improvements of both the projects that are proposed at some point, that they will chip in and do their correct fees to fix that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. See no one else approach, we'll bring it back to council for a motion. And Mr. DeBar, if you could get with Mr. Osmond perhaps and answer that question. But I'll bring it back to council for a motion, discussion.
Before I make a motion, just what's the timing on the Ramona Road realignment, the phase 2 of this project?
Yeah, I think phase 1 is gonna, obviously probably be the first one because a lot of the building permits are really tied right now to, for Marketplace and others, like we're looking at traffic and there is a threshold that we'll hit at some point where, could put pause on some of the development. So, but phase 2, the Ramona, again, we'll look at funding early next year with the budget cycle and see what kind of funding we have. But I'd say that the plans would be ready, shovel ready, towards the end of 2027 timeframe. So anytime after that, like early 2028, we'd be ready to go and bid those out if funding is allowed.
Okay. And if ownership changes on the Del Rio Ranch project cause that project to change, I mean, obviously, it won't become a major retailer, like, big box store because of deed restrictions on that property from the prior corporate owner. But do you anticipate any major impact for different use on the portions of the project that aren't being built by that property?
No, I really don't. Director Dunsmore and I really put this thing through a lot of different land use scenarios. I forget how many, but and combinations and everything else. But I feel very confident with this plan line and its ability to address future growth. The big one is if there was a regional shopping, that would trigger like a bridge widening. So when we went away from the roundabouts, we said, okay, this is only going to be able to accommodate so much. But we also set aside the right of way. That's why next to Taco Bell, there's a big wide area there between Del Rio Road and that where the retaining wall is. That would be to accommodate if the bridge was widened someday by Caltrans, we would want to try to have a wider bridge to accommodate a couple more lanes. But I really don't see any of the land uses that would be coming in. Maybe Director Dunsmore wants to weigh in on that either, or also.
Thank you, Director DeBar. At this time, we don't have definitive land use ideas for the Del Rio Ranch property. The entitlements are still there. The project is approved. We hope that's what happens or something very similar. If anything changes, they will have to do a new traffic analysis and we would have to analyze that at that time. And we just hope we don't have constraints that hold us back. And that's this whole process was about removing constraints so development can move forward. This is an entirely, I would see this as an economic development action tonight with looking at these improvements. And we're also doing some environmental CEQA work to unlock these intersections as well. So a lot of effort being put into it.
Yeah, and a public safety initiative because at some point, development of the community is likely to require fire staffing out in that area, and that's our location for a west side, northwest area fire station. Okay, if you're ready for a motion, I will move approval of consent item number 11.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Dares. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dares,
Yes.
Mayor Robo.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. We will move on to updates from the city manager, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of council. I do have a few. This week, May 13th from 8 to 9, that's tomorrow, I think. Yeah, tomorrow morning from 8 to 9 a.m. In front of City Hall is Pedal to the Garden. So this is a chance to ride your bike. This is our city annual event to bike to work. So this is a promotion for that. Bicyclists can enjoy a light breakfast and refreshments. I think they're actually breakfast burritos, if I'm not mistaken. So free breakfast burrito if you ride your bike to work or City Hall. Our local full-service bike shop, K-Man Cyclery, will also be there to share service tips with bicycles and the latest in bicycle performance and safety. So this is part of Slow Cog's May Bike Month with events happening all over. So bike to the Sunken Garden tomorrow morning and get yourself a free breakfast burrito and refreshments and hang out with some fun city staff people who also rode their bike. Next, National Public Works Week. Public Works Week, all right, is May 17th through 23rd, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. This is an opportunity to recognize our public works professionals that focus on infrastructure, facilities, and the services that keep our community looking good and operating. They impact our community's safety, health, and quality of life. And so our Public Works Department is made up of a dedicated group of maintenance workers, engineering, administrative support, and managers who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our city's parks, streets, wastewater, and storm system, and our facilities, fields, and public spaces. So thank you to our Public Works Department for your excellent work, and we salute you next week, Public Works Week. This week, we have the Lemur Habitat grand opening, and look how excited that lemur is for his new home. This Friday, May 15th, the Central Coast Zoo is thrilled to invite you to experience our newly renovated lemur habitat, inspired by the incredible biodiversity of Madagascar. So the doors open at 10 a.m. General admission is required, and we're going to have a special ribbon cutting and celebration for our new lemur habitats. Don't want to miss that. Also, the 23rd annual Ice Cream Zoofari tickets are on sale now. This will be Saturday, June 6th from 5 to 8 p.m. It'll be a wonderful summer evening with all-you-can-eat ice cream, sundaes, and yummy toppings. And then your children go to Pure Dentistry, our top sponsor there. I think that's funny. Tickets include full zoo admission and unlimited sweet treats. So Ice Cream Zoofari, get your tickets now. Our next event is just really excelling as the place to be in town. This is Coffee with a Planner. Join the monthly Coffee with a Planner for opportunities to connect with city planning staff. This is May 21st at 9 a.m., Malibu Brew Coffee. The topic actually is fascinating. This is on accessory dwelling units and Senate Bill 9. So what can you do with your property? And how do you work through the ADU process? So should be a great conversation. If you're interested, come have coffee with our planning team. Next, we have the Memorial Day ceremony. Memorial Day is May 25th, 2026 at 11 a.m. at the Faces of Freedom Memorial. It's a very meaningful event to honor those who've made the ultimate sacrifice and service to our nation, and always just a tremendous event. Kiwanis will be having a barbecue following the ceremony to support the veterans and those who are there that day. So don't miss our Memorial Day ceremony. And finally, I just wanted to say on behalf of the staff, we also send our condolences to the Clay family. Jerry was such a great supporter of city staff, encouraging, would always sit and tell us stories of the city, so we appreciated its history and legacy. And Jerry will be missed, so our sympathy to the Clay family. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can go to visit.atascadero.com and atascadero.org as well. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Okay, does any member of the council have any questions for the city manager? Councilmember Peak.
Yeah, the people want to know, what's the name of our new lemur? No further
To the
questions.
grand opening.
I'll
Pete,
find
will you
out and get
find
back
out?
to you.
Maybe that'll be revealed at the grand opening. Seeing no further questions, move on to community forum. Community forum is the portion of the meeting reserved for persons wishing to address the city council on items that are not on the agenda. Because the Brown Act prohibits us from entering into a discussion of items not on the agenda. We could limit our response to a quick question of staff or ask staff to get together with a speaker. Community forum can only last 30 minutes, although it doesn't look like from the size of the audience that will be a problem. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you state your name for the record. First speaker, please.
Good evening once again, council and city staff. I have two interesting items, I guess. One would be where Caltrans attempted to fix the road by McDonald's and the 41 Morrow Road area. Are we going to be able to get them to actually do a job correctly there? Because that road is getting worse and worse nonstop. The second one is, as we continue to add bike lanes, I think our city does a fairly good job with our street sweeper cleaning the areas of the bike lane. But the worst part of the bike lanes is Morrow Road. And I believe that's Caltrans's problem. How do we get those cleaned up so you don't have bikes in the middle of the road? It's horrible if you look at those so-called sidewalks/bike lanes. There is so much debris on them, and they never really get attended to. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to address the council?
Hi, Atascadero City Council. I'm Francesca Devlin. Can you hear me? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Francesca Devlin, and I love walking around the lake with my dog and think that the park's employees do a stellar job taking care of it. I would like to respectfully request the evaluation and implementation of additional traffic and pedestrian safety measures around the lake area and surrounding roadway corridor. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Specifically in the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit zones. This area serves as a highly utilized recreational destination for residents and visitors of all ages and abilities, including children, people with limited mobility, families with strollers, runners, cyclists, anglers, and many others who regularly use the area for walking, recreation, and community enjoyment. While the posted speed limit is currently 15 miles per hour, vehicle speeds frequently exceed what appears safe and appropriate for the roadway conditions. The area contains numerous blind curves, limited sight distance, wildlife crossings, and sections where pedestrians are directly adjacent to vehicle traffic without physical protection. These conditions create ongoing safety concerns for both recreational users and motorists. I respectfully request that the city consider prioritizing the following safety improvements: a comprehensive traffic and pedestrian safety study, install radar speed feedback signs, electronic your speed specifically in the 15-mile-per-hour zones, implement traffic calming measures, evaluate the feasibility of raised speed bumps, pavement markings, or other traffic calming tools, improve pedestrian protection in exposed areas, and increase safety signage and enforcement presence. This lake area is one of Atascadero's most valuable community assets and serves as an important place for recreation, wellness, and connection for residents of all ages. The current roadway design and driver behavior creates conditions where a serious incident feels increasingly likely if proactive safety measures are not considered. I appreciate the city's continued commitment to public safety and respectfully asked for this area to be evaluated before a preventable tragedy occurs. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to council. Mr. DeBar, if you could get Mr. Oslin and address the role of Caltrans and whose responsibility it is relative to keeping those bike lanes clean. I'd be curious to know that myself, but the city manager can discuss that with us. But if you could get with him and also perhaps get the contact information for the last speaker to discuss what you can and can't do regarding some of those concerns.
I will.
Okay, thank you. All right, we will move on to item H1, a public hearing regarding Proposition 218 majority protest process relative to proposed increase to wastewater, or better known as sewer rates. I'm not sure if we're turning that over to Mr. DeBar and then subsequently to the city clerk.
I'm going to pass this one over to Mr. Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. It's one of the gifts after a 5-year anniversary is to do proposed sewer rates. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ryan Betts, Public Works Analyst. I'll get this started. Just the council may recall that back in March 10th, staff brought an item before you. They analyzed the wastewater services, capital needs, the rising treatment and energy costs, and primarily the impacts of very stringent state regulations for the eventual replacement of our wastewater treatment plant. This was in kind of a continuous process of last year, looking at the wastewater rate analysis this time last year, which proposed a series of potential cost increases to keep up with the rate increases to keep up with cost increases. After that presentation and discussion, council set a public hearing for today, May 12th, and directed staff to send notices to all customers of the sewers collection services and set a public hearing date. Since that time, staff has mailed approximately 5,637 to property owners of the notice for tonight's meeting. And I'll be very quick, just to reiterate, these proposed rates before you tonight are designed to recover the cost to proportionally provide wastewater flow and strength to the system. Unlike a number of cities, CSDs, and counties in the state, we do not have individual water rate analysis or data for parcels. And so the city some time ago used a best practice, which is analyzing that strength and that flow based upon EDUs or equivalent dwelling units. That's the methodology that the city has adopted. One EDU is defined as the wastewater flow and strength of a single family dwelling unit. So a typical residential house is charged one EDU rate per month. And then everything is basically off that. So condos, they're smaller, they have a smaller amount of use. They're a little bit less than the one EDU. Restaurants, for example, with the kitchen and the dining service and the amount of customers they serve every day is higher than one single family dwelling unit. Just by comparison, looking at the rates compared to our neighbors to the north, south, east, and west, you can continuously see that Atascadero currently, as the rates are adopted, are well below the median as proposed for your consideration tonight. That would still be close to, if not below the median of our neighbors in terms of cost for wastewater rates. Just real quick, the public notice that did go out looked very familiar to previous notices that went out. I want to make sure that we're consistent and the language is consistent to make sure our customers know exactly what's being proposed. The current rate, the monthly rate for one EDU is $50.06. As proposed, it would be increased by $10.54 per month. Should that rate be adopted by council tonight, that would provide a little over $1 million for annual wastewater revenue increase. That revenue, again, goes directly back to the wastewater enterprise fund, and that wastewater enterprise fund is what funds the collections, the treatments, and eventually the incredibly important capital infrastructure we need for the treatment plant. And with that, I'm going to turn over to City Manager Lewis to talk a little bit more about the City Manager's task force on wastewater.
Thank you, Mr. Betts. Council, just wanted to give you an update. As we had talked about last year at this time, the council felt very strongly about good public engagement and meaningful engagement. And we've had this task force meeting now for over a year, and it's been a great group of approximately 15 residents, business owners, 2 council members. And so we've had 6 meetings. Our next meeting will likely be in July or August. And we have reviewed all of the regulatory challenges, the plant issues. We recently toured plants in Pismo and San Luis Obispo. At our last meeting 2 weeks ago, we looked at the progress of our design. And so our Black & Veatch, our consultant, is well into design alternatives. Really what we're trying to focus on is what is the least expensive to build and operate, a practical but not fancy, a plant that is vanilla in the sense that we know how it works. It's well utilized in cities like ours throughout the country. And so we're at that point, we're down to about 5 or 6 alternatives. So we walked through those with the wastewater committee, the task force. We went over our infiltration and inflow study. And so we received our first results on that. And that does show portions of the community where we believe there could be some significant infiltration, which then we want to take a look at. Is it cheaper to fix those sites, maybe not need as large a wastewater plant? So we talked about the I&I study. And we also talked about if this increase goes through tonight, we won't use this again. We're doing a study now as far as a classification study on rates to actually look at. We will have some better data. The water company is going to give us some generic data, not a customer's data for different use types. We have a couple business owners who are willing to give their specific data on their business. And so we'll really take a look at, I think we'll be able to get closer to what usage a business has, and that's based on flow and the concentration of the flow. So there's two components to it, and we explain that to the task force. So I think the task force was very impressed with the work that is occurring. I think even one of our members on his own in the development community did a back of the envelope analysis on how big the plant should be, and he decided that the plant that we're looking at, 3 million gallons of capacity, is the correct size. So there was just some good dialogue there. And so when we have some information from these, we'll continue to meet. But the group has been very helpful. They've been very supportive of this tonight, where we are and why we need to do this, and we'll continue to meet. So I just wanted to give a brief update on our meeting and what we're doing. Mr. Betts.
Thank you, City Manager Lewis. So I'm going to, we have 3 slides and recommendations, and then I'm going to turn it over to the mayor to conduct the public hearing and work with the city clerk on protests as part of the Proposition 218 process. So recommendation 1 for you tonight is to conduct a public hearing to receive all written and verbal testimony regarding the proposed wastewater or sewer rates and consider the results of the protest proceedings in accordance with Proposition 218. Recommendation number 2, adopt one of the following resolutions certifying the protest results. A, for a non-majority protest, draft Resolution A in your packet, certifying that the number of valid written protests were not received from property owners representing a majority of the parcels subject to the proposed rate increases. Or B, for a majority protest, draft Resolution B, certifying that the number of valid written protests were received from a property owners representing a majority of the parcels subject to the proposed rate increases. And finally, recommendation number 3, if no majority protests exist, adopt draft Resolution C, approving proposed wastewater rates effective July 1, 2026. And with that, staff is available to answer any questions from council.
All right, thank you, Mr. Betts. So we will first see if any members of the council have a question. I assume the clerk is busy counting any protests. So we'll see if any members of the council have any questions for staff on this item. Okay, Councilmember Peak.
Yeah, so we have, since we're going with the EDU model, is there opportunity for either business owners or homeowners to volunteer their data? I've had that a couple of people ask me. In order to have a more clear picture, I know we're getting aggregate or vague sort of data from the water company, but if there were business owners or homeowners who wanted to share their gallon usage month over month in order to aid with them, is that something that's possible? Can someone do that?
Well, they can. What we're going to end up doing on that user application study is it'll be expanded. You know, the classifications will be expanded. It'll be broken down more. It'll be, to bake in more fairness with it. And then it'll be based on like that user classification. So it might be single family home. So what we'll ask from the water company for the volumetric analysis will be, hey, give us all the consumption records for all the single family homes. So we'll have that, and then it'll be compared, how much of that is percentage of the total contribution to the system and the strength and everything else. And it'll go like that. But certainly if they want to contribute, their individual, but we'll still get that in aggregate, if you will, of all the single family homes or all the apartments or all, whatever that breakdown is.
Okay, I think probably the main, not concern, but the main thing is with commercial being such a larger number, that there's a lot of commercial owners that maybe when they see the chart that we currently use, they're like, there's no way I'm using that much to warrant that dollar amount. But, industry to industry, are we going to see, do you anticipate much of a fluctuation? Is it too early to tell? Or so would those commercial property tenants, or, a lot of times the tenants, in Atascadero, where the tenants, mostly commercial tenants, pay the water bill. Is that better to volunteer that data versus a house? Because the SFR is going to be an SFR, but the classifications of business are much more widely spread out. That's where it gets kind of in the issue of fairness. Someone could have a warehouse that's 3,000 square feet with one flushing toilet, but operating a similar type of business who someone has like a shower and multiple gender toilets and all that stuff. So those are kind of the concerns I'm hearing from the business community.
Yeah, and we'll, if they want to offer that up, certainly, they can give us a call and we'll look at that. Even if, we've looked at certain individual commercial type of customers before too. And I think it was like the Moose Lodge or something, they have RV spots, they have a hall, they got all these weird things. So they called one day and they released their water consumption records and we kind of evaluated that and modified their EDU a little bit, but because they didn't fit into any one of these categories nicely. So any of those we look at, and then we're also doing a full, trying to get a full audit before we do this user classification study as well. So we have good data going in.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As noted, the purpose this evening is to conduct a public hearing. So all property owners were given a public notice and given the opportunity to either submit a protest in writing or to speak here this evening. So I'd like to open it up to the public, see if anybody would like to speak on this item. Okay, seeing none, we will bring it back to council and we will see if the clerk has had time to tabulate the results of any protest received.
I have. No majority protest exists.
Okay, could you convey how many protests were received?
One valid protest.
Okay, one valid protest was received. Okay, with that, then I'm going to turn it over to the council for a motion and any discussion.
I'm ready to, if everybody's ready to roll, I'm ready to move that we adopt draft resolution A and draft resolution C.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk, second by Mayor Pro Tem Dares. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dares,
Yes.
Mayor Bourbeau.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we will move on to item H2, a hearing regarding weed abatement. I believe this is going to be Chief Fonson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm here to talk about weed abatement. If we could get that PowerPoint up.
You don't want to talk about the sewer system?
No, thanks. I think Ryan did a great job on that. Okay, so this is the second part of our weed abatement process, which is the hearing of objections. I just got a few slides to go through here tonight. So just a quick background. Weed abatement is a vital part of the city's overall fuel management plan and ensures property owners maintain their land to reduce fire hazards. And the primary goal is to support a fire-safe and resilient community. So this is a history. This chart here is a little history of private parcels cut in the last 9 years. So you see it fluctuates back and forth, but last year we had our second highest of 14 parcels cut by our contractor. So here's our timeline for the weed abatement process. In March 2026, all 11,341 parcels were visually inspected. And then in April, we declared weeds a nuisance. And then following that meeting, 5,868 letters were mailed, which was a decrease of about 500 letters from 2025. And when I was out there doing that, what I noticed is a lot of people had started their weed abatement already. It was warmer, it wasn't raining. And I noticed a lot of properties went to hardscaping and got rid of a lot of their vegetation areas. So now tonight, we're here to hear objections of proposed removal of vegetated growth. And then starting June 1, we will visually reinspect all 5,868 parcels that were tagged for abatement. And it just needs to be said that we get a lot of calls when these letters go out. And the number one answer to people is if you ever take a weed eater to your property, you will receive a notice. And the notice is there as a reminder, but it also, if we do not notice a property and a property is out of compliance, we cannot abate that property. So it's better to err on the side of caution and to notice properties that any property that has the potential of using a weed eater on it, because our ordinance says potential weeds or potential weeds. So here's a great example of how weed abatement is assessed in our neighborhoods in Atascadero. This was the Llano fire last June. You could see around that house how the weed abatement was done and how the fire crept up right to the house, up to where their weed abatement. So when it hit the grass below the weed abatement area, it was probably 6 to 8 inches tall, and it was spreading really quickly until it hit that weed abatement area, and it slowed the fire down enough that we saved all 6 structures that were threatened. So our recommendation is on the City Council to hear all objections to the proposed removal of any vegetative growth and or refuse, and allow or overrule any objections, and authorize the fire chief to proceed and perform the work of the abatement. And that's the end of my report. So I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Does any member of the council have questions? Okay, seeing none, we will go out to the public and see if we have any objections to the proposed removal of vegetative growth.
I have a couple comments I'm going to make. I think this is the best year of the letters going out, to be honest. I think they were worded properly in the verbatim of cleaning your property up. As Battalion Chief said that the letter notices have dropped by 500, but I will also bring up that 3 or 4 years ago, there might have been 2,000 letters that went out. Now there's 5,000 letters. So that's the difference in the graph up there and the numbers of people that did not do their due diligence of weed abatement. And I think maybe for next year, we could change the title to say weed abatement and refuge abatement, so people really understand that they can't have a pile of pallets and flammable stuff sitting in their front yard. Thank you. Great job.
Okay, thank you. Any other member of the public wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, we will bring it back to council for any questions or a motion.
Yeah, a quick question. Could you describe the process by which property owners who have not yet abated their weeds as of June 1st, how are they notified that they are, they better get it done real quick, or they're going to be done, they're going to have a very large bill?
Great question. So when we go out there and we do notice someone has not done their abatement, we try to make personal contact with them, knock at the door, and then we have orange tags that we fill out with their APN number, the areas that they need to work on, and we hang it on their door. And then that's put directly into our computer system. And the very next day, our contractor receives that information. So if it's not done by June 1st, it could be possible by June 2nd that the contractor is out there abating property. Now for vacant lots, we started about 3 years ago of staking the vacant lot and posting the tag on the lot as well. But the only notice they get through the mail is the initial notice in April.
Okay, thank you. It's the most important thing we do to keep each other safe in our community.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll move that we authorize the fire chief to proceed and perform the work of abatement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk, a second by Councilmember Peak. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris,
Yes.
Mayor Bobo.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. We will move on to item H3, discussion of our fee schedule. And let's see, are we going to be by Administrative Services Director Jerry Rangel? Please proceed.
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we are looking at the amendments to the fee schedule for the upcoming year. So the service fees are charges that represent cost recovery for city services. These might include services like planning and building permits, recreation, or public safety services. The fees are calculated based on the cost to provide those services, or what California law refers to as costs reasonably borne. An extensive fee study was performed by a consultant in 2022. The study determined how much it costs the city to provide each of these services. Armed with this knowledge of the cost to provide the services, the council then sets the policy on how much the user should pay. Youth sports programs have historically been subsidized by the city, meaning that participants are charged fees less than what it costs to provide those services in order to keep them affordable for families. Youth sports are partially tax supported and partially user supported. Yet other services, such as building permits, are typically 100% paid by the applicant. Those are fully user supported fees. Staff recommends keeping certain fees at no cost. Council previously reduced some fees to zero in order to further council's strategic initiatives and support general community benefit. $0 fees include broadband fiber installation and maintenance of sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and street trees in the right-of-way and for non-city maintained streets. The update tonight represents the annual inflation adjustment. The updated fees reflect a CPI adjustment of 3.21%. Most of the fees in the draft fee schedule reflect only the CPI increase. However, some fees are fixed by state law and typically don't change. There are also a few fees that were added or adjusted as needed, but most of those fees that deviated from the straight CPI increase were either related to recreation due to marketing type adjustments, or there were some clarifications and administrative updates on a few other fees. If adopted tonight, the amended fee schedule will go into effect in 60 days. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Does any member of the council have questions? Okay, seeing none, we will go out to see if there's any public comment on this item. Okay, seeing none, we will bring it back to council for a motion.
I do have one amendment to offer to this. I would suggest on, this is on page 312 of the packet, in our item number, reference number 26-104 city special events for the father-daughter and now mother-son dances, that the language be changed, not the fee, but the language, be changed from plus $5 for each additional daughter, since we're now doing mother-son as well, to plus $5 for each additional child. Just to keep
Okay.
it clear.
Just, yes,
Great, thank
understand.
you.
$5 extra for additional sons as well.
I think Terry was trying to give a break to sons, but
Hey,
Trying to sneak
Councilmember
a break
Funk
for the
caught her.
boys.
Good old thoroughness,
Hey,
Councilmember. Thank you.
I'm the mother of a son. I notice when we're not paying attention to our sons. So-
Okay, good catch. Any other questions or comments? If not, I will seek a motion.
I'll move approval of the fee schedule as amended with this language.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Daris. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris,
Yes.
Mayor Bobo.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. We are going to move on to council announcements and committee report. I will begin on my left with Councilmember Peak.
No committee reports since our last meeting, although I had a fantastic time judging the Tamale Festival. It was a great festival, Terry. Bravo. We had a great time, great weather this year, and everybody seemed to enjoy themselves thoroughly. Thanks again.
I'll go. Yes, the Tamale Festival was a ton of fun. I also was one of the judges of the tamales, and that's one of my favorite events to participate in for that. Thank you again, Terry. It was a great event, great weather. Couldn't ask for more. And we didn't get a report. I don't know if we had mentioned how many tamales were sold that day. I heard it was around 50,000, which is I think is just amazing. If that's the number, I think we're close to that. But anyway, on my reports next week, I have 2 meetings coming up on the Wednesday. Air Pollution Control District meets Wednesday morning. Thursday evening will be Cap Slow. Will be the meeting for that, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you. I will have Integrated Waste Management Authority tomorrow. And we have the county mayor's meeting here in our most wonderful city hall for hundreds of miles around on Friday. And I will comment that this morning I had the opportunity to participate in Loaves and Fishes, or Tascadero Loaves and Fishes, or ALF, has bought the old Ted Miles property and is beginning demolition, and they were inviting people to come and help volunteer with the demolition. And since I'm probably better at breaking things than I am at building them, I was able to help take out a window so this morning, but they're still seeking volunteers to help with that. So you can go on the ALF website and check that out. And that's it. I'll pass it on to Councilmember Funk.
Okay. I too enjoyed being part of the Tamale Festival and the honor of serving on the judging panel for the pet costume contest, which was just dogs this year. Last year we had a cat. Yeah, which, that's pretty, the cat did not volunteer to come back apparently. But we had a lot of fun with that. And then I stayed to sell beer, and we had so many people that we had to send folks out to buy more, to bring more beer in so that we could keep selling beer. And Wildfields kept rolling over additional kegs to their things because folks were doing that. And all of those funds from those alcoholic beverages at Tamale Festival then support the zoo, our wonderful zoo, and all the good critters there. So last week I attended a meeting of the Atascadero Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. I can say it fast now. And we're basically working through the process of developing and doing the analysis for a 5-year report that's going to involve adding some additional wells into the monitoring process. The plan is to use wells that already exist and get data from them and not to have to drill anything new. So it should be fairly low budget, but we do have to comply with certain reporting requirements, even though the basin continues to be in good shape. And I will also be attending on Thursday on behalf of our engagement with REACH, the SLO County Economic, it's a redevelopment, or get the exact name of this. It's an economic development roundtable. And hopefully Lorelei will be attending that too. And we'll share good ideas from our city and hear what other cities are doing that we can sponge off of to adopt for us.
Thank you. Councilmember Newsom.
Thank you. RTA met last week. We reviewed the budget and potential upcoming legislative changes affecting the funding. And nothing else to report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have an individual determination?
I do.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Daris.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. As a lot of us may be aware of, we've had, there's one particular street vendor that has been, seems to be having a lot of success in town. And I think that that's great. I think it sounds like their food is very popular. But it's not regulated. And I don't want to say that I want to think it should be regulated because I'm opposed to what they're doing. I think what they're doing is great. People seem to really enjoy their food. But I think it can get out of hand if there aren't rules that need to be followed. My main concern is public safety. Do they have the proper permits from the health department? Do they have the proper permits from the city? Are they being considerate to the public by not blocking sidewalks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So I think that we can still have these street vendors in town
But in my discussion with City Manager Lewis, he said that he has dealt with this in the past. With all we need to do is sort of get an ordinance to make sure that we can control something like that. So if I can get some support on that, I'd like to see this on an agenda where staff can come up with an ordinance to make sure that this is all done in the right way for everybody, for the businesses and for our public.
Yeah, I would agree with asking staff to look into that. I mean, the complete 100% blockage of sidewalks to, to passersby, potential traffic and safety hazards, et cetera, is something that needs to be addressed. We're not going to get into overkill. I don't think any of us wants to do that, but I think it is important because these things can get out of hand, and it's pretty common for cities to have ordinances of some sort in this regard. So I support your request to have staff look into this and possibly bring back something for action.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I want to stress that this isn't about opposing what they're doing. It's just about making sure that everybody's doing things in a manner of safety and following the right rules and just playing nice in the sandbox. So I appreciate that, Mayor. I think we need maybe one more to.
Yeah, I'd like to see if others are okay with staff bringing something back for discussion on it.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the staff doing something, encourage the staff to keep it simple.
Okay. So will staff?
Yes, I appreciate that. I think I've had some concern about it as well. It's getting very large. It's blocking the entire sidewalk. There's like a dining room set up. It's far more than a street cart vendor. And so I think actually we should have some enforcement on it now based on accessibility and the crowd that's gathering on the sidewalk. So I'll work with the police department. As for the ordinance, what I would bring back is something that looks at kind of the locations these can be that are safe, usually distance from driveways, not blocking passive travel, sight lines, those sorts of things you can regulate. You can't prohibit them, but you're not saying that. We'd also would require an insurance certificate for the city, a business license, and a valid health permit. So that's the kind of thing I'd bring back, but pretty straightforward, easy to understand. I hear that. If that sounds good, I can do that. I have two answers to questions earlier too. We sold 40 to 46,000 tamales, and the lemurs' names are Lizzie and Borealis.
Okay, very good to know. I will be seeing them on late Thursday afternoon. I think the council will. So, okay, Councilmember.
And under what circumstances could a food vendor who wanted to do a large, setup with extra tents and that kind of thing, and might have a significant crowd, could they use the plaza on El Camino? And I believe that there's a rental fee for that in the schedule we just passed.
I don't know that we want to get into too much detailed discussion. It's just,
that could be done?
yeah, just something you can bring back.
I would
as
think
part
you'd have
of-
to rent, if you rented property and did that, but we'd have to look at commercial purposes on public property and other things. I actually don't know. Terry, do you know that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think renting public property consistently for a private enterprise would be, I think, not the best use of public property, but we could address that in the staff report.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just something to consider when you bring back and report. So, okay. All right. Just anything else? Then we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.